Your Philadelphia Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, and why you never, ever mess with the Rocky statue. All that and more coming up next.
The following announcement has been paid for by
the ENN Podcast.
He has a good energy, you guys.
Can you feel
Sport.
that excitement? And also,
The merchandise, wearing the hats.
Is what I'm seeing for real?
Wild here live from Lincoln Financial.
I can't wait till this video's over so I can say its name anymore.
Music.
Wow.
Man, again, and I hate to do this again, but these are goofy.
What the hell? What is that?
Whoa! What the hell?
And more.
What's his next book gonna be called?
Got you sucker.
I did not see that coming.
Man, that music sounds so good, especially today. I'm professional wrestler Chris Wild, live here on the ENN Podcast at bar 4133. 41-33. That is the score of the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl. The only time the Eagles won a Super Bowl, and we get a chance to do it again in just a couple weeks as the Philadelphia Eagles face the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57 after the Eagles annihilated and dominated the San Francisco 49ers. Bang, bang, Niner gang, my ass. You came in and you did the unthinkable. First off, you know what? I don't even want to send this warning out to future opponents that come into Philly during big games. Keep doing it because you're going to get the same result. You see, I've got Rocky Balboa down here. For whatever reason, these fan bases think it's a good idea to come to the Rocky statue and put your jersey or your team's flag or your team's t-shirt and disrespect the city of Philadelphia and the Rocky statue. It's an absolute jinx to your teams. I mean, it happened to the Vikings, it happened to the stinking Giants, and it happened to the 49ers and Brocky Purdy. That's right. They had the nerve to call this guy Brocky yesterday. And look, I said it on the live stream, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, this game, it was over after the second quarter. I mean, going into halftime, realistically, you probably could have put Gardner Minshew in the game. There was no chance that the 49ers were going to do anything. And a lot of people, and predictably, a lot of the national media is saying, oh, this is an unimpressive win. If Brock Purdy was in the game the whole time, it would have been a different game. Some Niner fans are delusional enough to think that they still would have won the football game. Listen, this was a dominant performance by the Philadelphia Eagles defense. A defense that was called paper defense by George Kittle earlier in the week. A defense that's been just disrespected all year because all week long, all we heard about was how great the 49ers defense was. And don't get me wrong, as advertised, the 49ers defense is effing awesome. They proved it yesterday. Our offense had a hard time moving the ball against them when they weren't committing penalties, but we still put 31 points and ran the ball for over 150 yards and 4 touchdowns against his defense. With that being said, the Eagles defense just completely disrespected. Hassan Reddick not even in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, even though he left the season with over 16 sacks. He and the rest of the defense proved why they are who they are, and that is a nasty, dirty, dominant defensive line. Now, I have given Jonathan Gannon so much shit this year and last year. I still hate when he does this soft zone defense that he gets to sometimes, giving the cornerback and the wide receiver so much space in between. But I cannot argue with results. And the result yesterday was Hassan Reddick in the early parts of the game gets covered by a friggin' tight end. You want to talk about disrespect. One of the premier pass rushers in this league gets covered by a tight end. Kyle Shanahan, this offensive genius I heard about all week long. Oh man, this guy, he can design plays. What a play designer. He covers Hassan Reddick with a tight end and pays for it dearly as Hassan Reddick hits Brock Purdy, causes a turnover, and puts Brock Purdy out for the rest of the game until Ndamukong Suh turns into playoff Ndamukong Suh, and he takes out Josh Johnson, former XFL former quarterback he's played for 13 teams. I don't know, journeyman. He wanted no part of the game either. he goes out and Purdy has to come in to basically hand the ball off. Again, you talk about this brilliant play designer that Kyle Shanahan is. It was the most predictable. I mean, they could have had Kittle throw it. They could have had McCaffrey throw it. They could have had so many different things going on, try to confuse the Eagles defense. It wouldn't have mattered, but he kind of threw up the white flag after the quarterbacks go out. And look, the Eagles offense, did Jalen Hurts look amazing? Did he have a great stat line? No, pedestrian stat line, because he didn't need to do anything. He didn't need to do anything else. Ran the ball with the running backs. Kenny Gainwell, again, looks completely different in the postseason. Sometimes that happens, I guess. Jalen himself ran the football. I mean, they just didn't need to look that great. Now, he definitely has to get sharper going into the game against the Chiefs. That's a video for another day, as we've got a long time before that game. But it was such a dominating game, and I don't care if the 49ers had Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Jimmy G, who was having a ball on the sideline, by the way. Jimmy G really was enjoying himself yesterday. If they would have built a time machine and went back with Doc Brown and Marty McFly and got Joe Montana in his prime, there was nothing that was going to stop that Eagles defensive line from dominating the Niners offensive line. And on the other end, even though the Eagles couldn't really move the ball that well in the beginning, Nick Bosa was a non-factor. This guy, again, that has been drilled in my mind of what a great defensive player he is. And again, I'm not throwing dirt on the guy's name. Obviously, 18 sacks in the regular season. He dominated opposing offenses, but he just didn't do it yesterday. Fred Warner didn't do anything yesterday. These guys got bullied around by the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you remember in 2017, that championship game was fun, and it was just a highlight reel of offensive plays from Nick Foles and the Eagles. And there was pick six, and it was just a huge party. Yesterday was a burial of the 49ers. Yesterday was bully ball. Yesterday was nasty. There was nothing fun, even for an Eagles fan, about yesterday, because they just bullied the Niners on both sides of the football. And it didn't get fun until a minute left in the fourth quarter, when we could actually all party about the fact that we were now NFC champions. This Eagle team that has been, and I'm sitting down for this because I knew this was going to be a long one. This Eagle team that has been doubted since week one, the Philadelphia Eagles, and this goes back even further, and we'll get into Sirianni again into another video, because that deserves its own time. Since week one, the Eagles, could they beat the Detroit Lions? Because the Lions, what show was on Amazon? I don't even remember. HBO Hard Knocks. Because the Lions are such a passionate team, and they've got a passionate coach. And they're the different Lions team. They were doubted in that game, and they won. Week 2, the Minnesota Vikings. Here come the Vikings. The Vikings completely embarrassed Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They're going to come into Philadelphia and expose the Eagles. And they didn't. The Dallas Cowboys. I mean, again, if you remember, Cooper Rush was the second coming. This guy hadn't lost a football game. They're going to come into Philly and beat the Eagles. They didn't do it. It's every game, it seemed like the media just kept pushing the goalposts back. Oh, Jalen Hurts has gotten lucky. Oh, it's all A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I mean, it was this entire season, it's just been one thing after another. The doubt, the hate, all season long. People like Jalen Hurts, again, another video for another day during these days that we have leading up to the Super Bowl. The doubt and the hate that he's gotten has been well documented on my channel, nationally, locally. He's still, to this day, people don't think that this guy is an elite quarterback. He's the heart and soul of this team. Whether you like it or not, he's a Super Bowl quarterback. He's an NFC champion. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's done everything this year to get better. The Eagle fans, and there have been Eagle fans and Eagle content creators that have doubted Jalen Hurts, and all of a sudden they're on the bandwagon. Guys that in the very beginning of the season, in the preseason, said, because if you remember, Jalen had a good he had a good series, I think, in the first preseason game. And there was a content creator, I don't know why you guys are getting excited. It's preseason. Jalen Hurts is trash. This team is good, but except for him, that's why they're not going to get anywhere. It's bittersweet because they don't have a quarterback. And what is he doing? Just completely, that glass ceiling is gone. It's shattered. He's rose above it, and he's climbing even further than anybody thought he could. So much respect goes out to that guy because it's sometimes some guys, and we've seen it here in Philadelphia. We've seen it here with a guy like Carson Wentz. All the talent in the world just mentally wasn't there. Mentally let everything else get, and again, it was probably the guy behind me, Nick Foles. I mean, wins the Super Bowl. It's kind of hard to overcome that. I get it and I can understand it, but some guys just aren't built like Jalen Hurts is. He's built different. And I know that phrase has been used a lot and has been overused a lot, but he just is. From the coaches, Jonathan Gannon, I have given Jonathan Gannon shit all year long. He's been coming through in big games. Can he come through in the biggest game? Sirianni, again, I really want to dig into Sirianni and his story, but I know this video will go so long, and it's just, it'll be for another day. But they've overcome all the odds. All the odds. I'm so happy, and I said this in the live stream, and thank you guys for watching the live streams lately. It's just a lot easier to jump into a live stream and not have to edit. So I've done that a lot more. But the guys I'm happy for, Jason Kelce, about to retire, thinking about retiring. I'll never forget that scene at the end of that horrible 2020 season when Jason Kelce and Zach Ertz and Carson Wentz are all they look so miserable at the end of that game when everybody had left the stadium having a quiet conversation. I thought Kelce was gone then. Comes back in 21, sees something in the nucleus in this team, sees something in the coaching staff of this team, and he comes back. I feel so happy for him, getting ready to play his brother in the biggest game of his life. Fletcher Cox, and we've given him so much shit all year. He's been playing well. He's going to another Super Bowl. Brandon Graham, a guy that tore his ACL last year, again, isn't even included in Comeback Player of the Year when the other three guys played last year. This guy didn't even play. Comes back at 34, defensive end, 10 sacks season. I'm so happy for him. Lane Johnson, a warrior, shut down Nick Bosa on one leg, continues to just astonish and amaze a fan base that believes in players like him. Gritty players, warriors that you have to literally take him away from the sideline. Like, I watched Brock Purdy, and I guess he tore his UCL. He's going to be out for 6 months. Horrible to see that happen to anybody. That's the worst part of this game, is guys getting injured. I don't care what team they play for. But you would not, if it was Lane Johnson, he would not be able to be on that sideline, because you would not be able to keep him out of the game. There wouldn't be a smile on his face in the huddle. We appreciate guys like that, and I'm so happy for so many parts of this team to get to another Super Bowl. Look, I went decades without seeing my team win a Super Bowl. It happened 5 years ago. I was at Veterans Stadium the last game when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came in and just ruined a season for the Eagles, ruined the closing of Veterans Stadium. I've seen it all, and for this to happen again with a different head coach and a different quarterback in 5 years is just really something to behold. And Howie Roseman, hats off to you. I mean, like, the guy was locked in a closet when Chip Kelly was here. And I said this in the live stream. He's the guy that he built a beautiful house in 2017, burnt it down, burnt it to the ground, and built an even better one. Here we are in 2022. He has brought out every emotion that you could ask for in a Philly fan: anger, sadness, and the biggest joy. And again, can he even eclipse that? Can you imagine? There was a point in my life where I didn't think I was going to get to see the Eagles even win one Super Bowl. We have the opportunity to grab two, to grab our second, and it's going to be tough as we face our former head coach, Andy Reid, as we face one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the game in Patrick Mahomes. I think one of the best offensive players that this game has seen in Travis Kelce. And a Kansas City team that's been there, done that, knows no quit. And as we saw in the AFC Championship game, they know how to get the breaks, man. They absolutely do. And it's going to be a hell of a Super Bowl. But, man, what a game yesterday. And I said this in a live stream a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago. that the fans, because Deebo Samuel came out and said, "Oh, our fan base, our stadium's louder." I said the fans need to just keep that energy the entire game, and they absolutely did. Start to finish, even when there was again, this is a game. The Niners were not in the game ever. Purdy goes out and Johnson goes out, and that's it. It's it. We're just watching our watches, waiting for the clock to turn till we can throw our hands up. But they kept the energy the whole time. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to have more content, tons of Super Bowl content coming up. Thank you, guys. Please keep an eye out for the live streams. I'll be doing more of those. I'm going to do a Sirianni video, a Jalen Hurts video, and an Andy Reid video because a lot of this city really loves Andy Reid. I'm not one of those guys. With that being said, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Go Birds, you're NFC champions. Everybody that doubted us can suck it. I'm Chris Wilde. I'll see you later.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I need Eagle Nation to stand.